Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Friday night Smackdown review. And I enjoyed tonight's episode. Again, the main event scene with the Bloodline continues to be compelling stuff. So they continue to tease stuff with Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had an interaction tonight that had me thinking, could this possibly be an actual Hell in a Cell match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? Even though I think on the SmackDown side that's still going to belong to Cesaro Rollins. But I think if there was any other match that could fit that bill, it honestly would be KO and Sami just because of all of their history, even in just WWE alone. Because WWE really has milked that. Mid-card continues to be interesting. Apollo Crews still Intercontinental Champion. And I loved even what they did to the tag division here outside of the champions. Got a little something going with Street Profits and an Alpha Academy that I thought was interestingly built tonight. So, and my favorite segment of the night by far, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this because these were my most popular tweets of the night about SmackDown, at least what I did tweet about it. Bianca and Bayley, I thought had an absolutely stellar segment tonight. So what do you think about SmackDown tonight, man?
Yeah, I think that the Bianca Bayley segment was definitely the highlight. The Usos Mysterios matches annoyed me more than I enjoyed them. I do definitely agree with you. I'm excited about what we're doing with the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. And that's about all I've got. Oh, I will say, admittedly, the Apollo Owens match kind of bored me. But I did quite enjoy what we got from Nakamura and Rick Boogs, even though I know you have something negative that you feel about that. I don't know if you're going to want to air that in our first segment or not, because I saw your tweet about it. But I'm ready to get into our first segment.
Yeah, let's get into it. Heat of the night, and just very quickly, because this would be kind of redundant since I mentioned this before. Nakamura, I get that this isn't New Japan, right? And we need to be very, clear about that. This isn't New Japan. This isn't New Japan Shinsuke. To, project that onto the Shinsuke of now is doing a disservice on many levels. However, even Shinsuke in a WWE context is a Rumble winner, has competed for the WWE title, is a former Intercontinental and United States champion and tag team champion, really decorated guy, and has done more objectively in his career than I would say Corbin has, just in my opinion. I don't like that Corbin is seemingly able to beat him so easily. I don't like that every victory he's gotten over Shinsuke is clean. Maybe I can look past one, but this is now the second time that he's beaten Shinsuke clean. And Shinsuke kind of looks like the asshole to me when even though he loses, again, clean, he just goes back to taking that crown, which, even though I hate to say it because it's stupid because it's been over a year, is Corbin's property. And I just feel like, again, just everything, the tone with this whole thing is kind of off. And I swear, the only thing that's making me look past it is just how fucking cool Nakamura and Boogs look together. So I just wanted to reiterate that I think just the narrative framework for this whole thing is fucked. But I'm still enjoying it because of Nakamura and Boogs.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from for sure. And low-key, I kind of expected Nakamura to lose against Corbin in this specific match just because I feel like he's been winning too much against Corbin and WWE doesn't want Corbin to look terrible. I'm waiting for us to get Corbin versus Boogs one-on-one, though. That's what I want.
Foster, you're saying that Corbin had the tights. I didn't notice Corbin having the tights. I just thought he had Nakamura really stacked in that pin.
Yeah.
That's what I thought happened, that he had him really stacked in that pin.
Yeah.
Now, if he had the tights, then obviously I rescind this. But it looks bad when, again, you've stacked him up twice, because I guess you just know how to use leverage on Nakamura. And then the one time Nakamura does beat Corbin, let's not forget, it took a distraction from Boogs playing the guitar, which I don't blame Corbin. That dude can fucking shred. I'd be distracted too. But, even in a WWE context, because I get that people would be like, it's not New Japan, God, stop, whatever. WWE Nakamura should be better than WWE Corbin to me. But, it is what it is. But more interestingly, I always find more interesting what you find fault with in the show, if anything. So do you have any heats of the night or anything that you want to address?
I don't have any major heats of the night. And I mean, I've got plenty of nitpicks, but they're probably too small to even worry about in this segment. Like I said, I was bored by the Usos Mysterio matches because I felt like I knew what was going to happen before they started, and then that happened. Literally, like, you can even ask my mom. I told her the Mysterios are going to retain, but they're not actually going to win, which, I mean, technically they did win in hard quotes because they got the 3 count, but it ended up not counting or being reversed or whatever because of the ref being not seeing the shoulder up. And then in the second match, I literally told my mom, this is going to be the one where Roman interferes. And that's exactly what, like, I don't like being that douche that says it's bad because it's predictable. But in this case, I'm not saying it's bad because it was predictable. I'm saying it was predictable and it wasn't compelling.
Right.
So, you know, predictable is great when it's compelling. In this case, I just didn't feel like it was, so...
You know, dude, and I gotta be honest with you, like, I can be sympathetic to all those complaints. I think what worried me at the end of the night is because Hell in a Cell seems to be like a lower card pay-per-view, that they're just gonna throw Roman on this, because again, he's been consistent about defending on pay-per-views. That is, again, the biggest difference between him and Brock. I'm worried that they might do Roman versus Ray at Hell in a Cell because it's a father defending his son, right? And it's a father defending his son against the tribal chief defending his tribe, so to speak, like in WWE's kind of mind. I really hope I'm wrong about that. I really hope I'm way off base about that. And WWE has no intention of doing Ray versus Roman, but I'd be lying if I said that didn't cross my mind when Smackdown ended. I'm like, oh, fuck, because Dominic got more of the beatdown, you know what I mean? He got the guillotine treatment even. And I'm like, fuck, is WWE going to make it so, like, Ray is like, oh, you really put Dominic out. Maybe we may not even see Dominic next week. It's going to be this whole thing. And I'm like, God, I don't really want to do that. Can we not? So we'll have to wait and see what WWE does. Or they could just not have Roman on the card at all, which honestly, I wouldn't mind. Because Hell in a Cell, again, is like a lower card pay-per-view, I'm not like, oh, why isn't Roman on it? Because, like, he's been on every pay-per-view for, like, the longest time now. So I'd honestly just rather him have the day off than have a weak title defense, potentially.
Yeah.
So... since you just said it's nitpicks that are, like, so minor, you'll probably just, like, air anything that you got a problem with when we actually get to the segments themselves.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. I do prefer for us to be positive, but I just feel like there isn't a lot to talk about on this SmackDown. We didn't get any new mountain matches announced for Hell in a Cell. We did get some storyline progression, so I'm not going to try and act like we didn't, but it I don't know. It feels like SmackDown moves at such a snail's pace to me.
Yeah, so let us get into our Friday night SmackDown review. And we get our Roman Reigns promo, more or less says, like, thanks to wise counsel, which Heyman seems very flattered by that. He shifted his position on the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match and the opportunity. Calls out the Usos. I love the dynamic, too, because Heyman's like, what can I do for you, my tribal chief? He's like, bring me my cousins now. Heyman's like, hey, hit the Usos music now, like, the urgency. Heyman, he's just, like, bolting, like, goddamn. Usos come out. And it's the same stuff, you know. Jay very quickly acknowledges Roman, you know, gives him that, like, you know, kind of like brother hug, like high five into the hug, like, yo, what's up, OG? And then Roman's like, no, it's your turn. Acknowledge me. And Jimmy, because he's been feeling cute since he came back, he's just like, I mean, in a much cooler way than me, mind you, because I'm just a dork that projects a very toxic energy. No. I already did it. In fact, we can even go back to last Hell in a Cell. Remember when you choked me out and you choked Jay out? So again, there's still that antagonism between Jimmy and Roman, but I get what you mean by snail's pace, because I'll tell you something, brother. And this is where I was dead wrong, and again, this is why I like our thoughts coming in fresh, because I'm always kind of instantly reacting almost to your reactions. First of all, I didn't know that was going to be the main event at all. Like, Roman was going to run in. I thought they were just going to lose straight up, even after Roman urged them to clean up their mess. I even had the thought, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I had the thought on Twitter that, like, after they lost the tag title matchup, maybe they would even rally behind beating the crap out of the ref. Like, rather than beating the crap out of Jimmy, they would be like, oh, well, that ref screwed you. Now I'm going to show you how the tribal chief takes care of business, and they all corner the ref and beat the crap out of him, and they don't get fined or suspended or anything because, well, Roman makes SmackDown the island of relevancy, right? I honestly would have found that more interesting than what we got here, and I only say that because even though I loved it, and even though I love the chemistry with these three guys, and they're killing the material, it's nothing about them. It's how much longer is Roman going to tolerate this? I'm actually surprised he's tolerated Jimmy for this long, to be truthful with you. And, like, Jimmy, as a character, is able to go and shoot his mouth off, and I don't know, I think it's good for the story in one way, but I can see people are like, oh, well, Jimmy's a bitch too, and Jay's a victim in both ways. We kind of talked about that last week. Javaris, I saw you tweet at one point that Roman's a bitch, so I don't know if, like, you're waiting for something to happen and you're kind of losing patience with Roman, but I think this is the consequence of what happens when you don't move a story forward, is that when you're running around in a circle, you're kind of looking at the people that are doing the running a bit differently. And I'm just surprised again.
Just kind of like, I'm going to be real pissed if they do either Ray or Dominic versus Roman at Hell in a Cell for the Universal title. Like, to me, that is just a complete waste of a Roman match, and I would rather he not compete at all, and that contributes more to the story of him being the new Brock Lesnar in a way, because he doesn't have to compete at every pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
I would rather get no Roman match at a pay-per-view, and then people call him out on it, and he pulls like a John Cena, put some respect on my name bullshit, than Roman versus either of the Mysterios.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you there. And again, like, Jimmy as a character, I get his motivation, because he feels like Roman is egocentric. And, you know, you talk about family pride, but what about the pride we can bring to the family, and you're not really supporting that? Like, Roman's not putting his back into that, because he's like, oh, well, if you take Jay from me, that means I have less of his attention, which means the Universal title's in danger. Now, of course, Roman isn't going to say that explicitly, you know, that's subtext, but that's really what's operating here. So I get Jimmy's motivations. I think what surprises me more is Roman as a character, I think usually is very quick to snuff out any threat or to, you know, go on the attack. And again, I kind of rationalize it by saying I don't think Roman wants to alienate a potential ally, because he's like, well, you know, two Usos for my title reign is far better than one. I mean, look how far I've gotten with the one, right? And if I get Jimmy in my pocket, how much further can I go? And I don't think he wants to blow that, but I almost wish we'd get, like, a backstage segment with Roman and Heyman kind of talking about that. You know what I mean? Like, because Roman's already acknowledged that Heyman's given him wise counsel about the Usos, right? Because he gave Heyman credit. He's like, he changed my mind about the tag titles. I would like a segment with those two. Heyman could be like, your tribal chief, or my tribal chief, may I submit something for your consideration? Permission granted. What are we to do about Jimmy Uso? And, you know, maybe they have a little debate about it. Maybe that we're not even privy to, right? But, like, something. Because I'm doing the rationalizations for Roman that he doesn't want to alienate another protector of his title reign. But I'd like to see that on TV. Because, like, that's not valid. That's conjecture. So, yeah, something needs to be resolved with the Roman and Jimmy dynamic to just really summarize it and put it succinctly. Because I think now it's starting to get to a point where, okay, Jimmy's still acting up. Nothing's really changed. You could argue maybe that the needle moved a little bit given the end of Smackdown. Like, Jay does not go with Jimmy, and he stays with Roman as he continues to beat the crap out of Dominic, which, just to get this out there, Dominic 100% had it coming. But, you know, like, I'm still wanting a bit more. So, yeah, that was that segment. After this, we get the first match of Usos versus Mysterios. I mean, you pretty much summed it up well in the first segment. You said that they were gonna, you know, that they were gonna, you know, not lose the titles, but they weren't gonna win the match either. And that's essentially what happened. You know, I think it was Jimmy, right, that got pinned, but he got the shoulder up in the victory roll by Dominic, which maybe that's why Dominic got more of the beatdown, because he really initiated all of this in that first matchup. I just now realized. Then, you know, we get Roman obviously chewing him out, which again, like, I've loved this story and I don't want to be that guy, but I almost would have preferred, again, it would have been a nice swerve to be like, okay, well, Jimmy, you called your shot and you failed. Now it's time to show you what separates you from the tribal chief, and then go after the ref. Adam Pearce would have been like, what are you doing? What are you going to do, Pearce? What are you going to do? And, like, nothing. It would have been amazing. But we don't get that. Roman just tells him, hey, make it right. You said you were going to win. Our family's watching. Make it right. You make it right tonight. I want this fixed tonight. They go and they do it. We get Seth Rollins' interview. Again, like, I want to get more into this feud, but it's hard when the fiery babyface that I know can beat Rollins' ass isn't on the product. And that's nothing against Rollins as a heel. I've actually been enjoying this heel work, right? But a heel's only as good as the babyface that I know is, like, just the imminent ass-kicking that's coming. And, you know, Rollins just continues to, you know, run down Cesaro. And Kayla kind of teases, you know, Cesaro is not one to go away, man. What are you going to do about it when he comes back? And Rollins is like, oh, so we're going to do that? Well, I'm going to take my mic off, and I'm just going to flick it at you with Tood. And that's essentially that segment.
Yeah, Sethington's such a bitch.
Yeah, he really is. I really can't wait for Cesaro to just beat him again. At least I hope. So after
that has to be the hope, right? Because if he doesn't, it's going to be bad. It's going to feel bad.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, because, dude, you got to understand from my perspective, not to stay on this segment any more than we need to, but, like, from my perspective, I've had it in my mind that Cesaro's going to beat Seth, maybe even again in a Hell in a Cell match, because you saw how, like, brutal that beatdown was at WrestleMania Backlash that Seth did, and the beatdown 2 weeks ago on Smackdown that they replayed tonight. So, like, with how personal and how brutal it's gotten, you know, I could buy the Hell in a Cell step. Cesaro beats Rollins in that, and he either gets a rematch at Money in the Bank, or he just wins the Money in the Bank, and then he gets the big match with Roman. And I've been saying that for a long time now. So if Rollins just beats him here, not only am I wrong again, which we should all be used to at this point because I'm me, but wow, like way to kill that momentum. So we'll have to see what they do about that. But in the meantime, we get Street Profits and Alpha Academy. So what did you think about these interactions throughout the night? Just because I know this is the first one, but we can just group it all together here.
Yeah, we can. Honestly, the only one that I really remember significantly is the one where Otis shoved... Was it? Wait, which one? I forget who he shoved into the like crate that like knocked him over and stuff.
I felt like that was Dawkins.
That's what I was... Dude, believe it or not, I wanted to say that dude's name, but I forgot his name, and all I could think of was Montez Ford's name, even though I thought in my mind it wasn't Montez Ford that got shoved over, so I didn't want to say the wrong name. I wanted to say Angelo. It's Angelo Dawkins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm fucking tripping, but yeah, Dawkins got shoved over, and I was like, I literally even said in the Discord, Otis is mean now!
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the matches. I'm sure we're gonna get multiple. I feel like we've already gotten a couple.
Yeah, you know, God, Chad Gable's so good, man. Like, I know this isn't the time and place for it. Maybe I'll find a relevant place in our NXT review. Maybe the next Diamond Mine vignette that plays. Because Gable Stevenson, I am so excited about that fucking dude. I think it's Gable Stevenson, if I've got the name right. I probably got it wrong.
Stevenson?
Oh, Stevenson, not Stevenson. Stevenson, my mistake. Stevenson. Really excited about that dude.
He's an Olympian, right?
Well, I don't. Yeah. Actually, he qualified to represent the 2020 Summer Olympics. Yeah. So I don't.
So technically, it won't be the 2020 Olympics. It'll be this year, but he should be in the Olympics this year, right? Yeah,
and I think NXT did sign him. So, and you're talking about a guy that was a 2-time All-American, fucking NCAA champion, and he's 21 fucking years old.
Well, dude, and don't tell Chad this, but he's 6'1".
Yeah, dude, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm really, really fucking psyched about this dude.
Yeah.
And why even bring him up?
My curiosity's definitely piqued.
Oh my God, for sure. Why even bring him up, bro? Like, you've got legit, like, they're all athletes in their own way. So when I say legit athlete, I don't mean it as a put down on the rest of the locker room, but I'm talking about people that were, like, amazing athletes before wrestling, that didn't just discover their athleticism through wrestling.
Are you also, like, vaguely speaking about any athletes, or are you specifically talking about wrestlers?
Well, just like wrestlers, specifically. Just to be as pointed as possible, yeah, like you've got wrestlers like Gable and stuff like that. Now, obviously, I'm biased because I love that style the most.
Oh, absolutely. But that also translates. That's the thing. We've seen it time and time again. If you have experience wrestling as an amateur or in college or in the Olympics or whatever, you're more likely to be able to learn how to be a good actual wrestler. I think really just wrestling is maybe even being too vague. I think if you have combat sport experience, or if you know how a real fight feels and what it's like to be in a real fight, you're more likely to be able to translate that into the ability to be a good actual professional wrestler than if you don't.
Yeah.
Just having experience in a real competitive, physical combat sport, whether it's UFC, MMA, they're pretty much like UFC is MMA. But okay, but so whether it's MMA, boxing, wrestling, shoot fighting, kickboxing, we've seen it time and time again. If you have legit combat sport experience, you're more likely to be a good wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think we've also seen some evidence that the higher up in that field that you go, the more likely you are to be an even better wrestler. Because, like, Olympians, Olympic wrestlers tend to be incredibly fast translators to pro wrestling.
Yeah. Now, to bring it back to Chad, because I didn't want to lose the thread, I mentioned Stevenson, and I do apologize for getting his name wrong. It's Stevenson, not Stevenson. That's on me.
I'm sure he's probably dealt with that mistake his entire life, too.
Well, I'll be man enough to apologize for it. That man's fucking decorated athlete to shit. We respect athletes in this house. You have Olympians and athletes like that. Now, here's where I'm hopeful for Alpha Academy. Usos did not win the tag titles tonight. And after the end of Smackdown, I'm guessing Jay isn't going to be itching to, run it back.
No.
He loves Jimmy. But, Roman, in between the gaslighting and everything, he made some points. So, no.
Isn't that how gaslighting works? You make a few valid points and then just pour a bunch of bullshit on top of it?
I mean, specifically, that's how, really effective quality gaslighting works. I'm sure there are other forms that are just no, if I lie enough, they'll just, they'll believe the lies and all that. But if you really want to put in the work, you take notes from Roman Reigns, and that's how it's fucking done.
I mean, even just, I feel like there are, quotes talking about the best lies or ones with a kernel of truth in them, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So, Jay probably isn't going to want to run it back with Jimmy. Hell, I wouldn't want to fucking run it back with Jimmy after this, so I'm not going to blame Jey Uso if he's like, my career was a lot better before you got here. Not exactly like I wish you died in the low energy.
Jey Uso.
Yeah. And now I'm opener Jey Uso with no titles to show for it.
God. Roman's going to use the fact that he gave Jay a main event spot as a way to make Jay dependent on him.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, this is really WWE's version. And it's amazing me how well they're handling it, of depicting an abusive relationship. Yeah. You do the gaslighting, now you create a source of dependency. See, if you get removed from me, what happens? The main event, the opportunities, gone like that. So for what? So you can play wrestler with your brother? Come back with me where you belong.
God.
Yeah. It's I should be taking notes, honestly, to up my own heel game, but fucking damn, our tribal chief, man. But no, in all seriousness, again, to put it back on Chad, because the Usos didn't win, that actually does up my confidence that Alpha Academy are going to be the next tag team champions. And it would be poetic.
Oh, I fucking hope so. Holy shit.
Dude, I really hope so as well.
If it ain't going to be the Usos, it damn well better be Alpha Academy.
Well, it sure as ain't going to be the Usos, man, not after tonight. And I feel like Alpha Academy, their first big feud really was with the Mysterios, so it has a full circle feel to it that I love. Doesn't mean WWE's going to do it, because if there's one rule to WWE, fuck you. And yeah, that's essentially the rule.
Yeah. I mean, to extrapolate, fuck you, we do what we want. That's really the full rule.
Yeah. But I really am hoping, because, Chad, just to give context to the segment for first-time viewers that are so you're going to talk about the segment? Or we do that 5% of the time here. Chad offers his managing services to the Street Profits. I actually like the pitch that he made here. Because, particularly with Montez, he's you were missing 6 inches off that frog splash. And I'm wow, Chad brought stats. And then he tells fucking Dawkins, your sky high was more like a grounded medium. That was such Kurt Angle energy. What are you doing? Yeah. He's right there. He's right. That was such a Kurt Angle line. And you just with that same Kurt Angle energy, he was so proud of it. He's thinking internally, nailed it. I love it.
That's going to be what it takes to convince him to join.
Yes, dude, yes. I wish I could report television because I'm in so many segments and I don't like it. But yeah, Street Profits just shoo him away. And Chad, I love the face that he makes too, because it's like such petulant child energy. Nobody rejects me. Nobody rejects me. Otis! And you're gonna get Otis's star pupil to do the work. And then obviously Otis does later, like you said. And then Street Profits more or less saying, look, we tried to give Otis some advice, some great advice, because they pointed out that, what has really happened for you since you joined Alpha Academy? It seems like the only person that's benefited is Chad. It sounds like another kind of unit that we know. Jimmy telling Jay the same thing, like, Roman's really benefited. How have you benefited? Except I think Roman can point to actual examples, whereas Chad, I don't know. Of course, Otis doesn't like that at all. Tax Street Profits, and then Street Profits cut a little promo afterwards. Street Profits got a lot of backstage time tonight. I thought this was a clever use of them if you weren't going to have them wrestle. And pretty much said, like, hey, we see you guys, we're going to take care of business, and that means they're definitely going to see them probably as soon as next week. So, we will see. After that, we get, oh my god, this. Do we have to talk about this? Yeah, we have to talk about this. We get Carmella talking about she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. I'm wondering what the payoff of that is going to be. Probably nothing. I'm just going to get ahead of that right now. Probably nothing. Because remember, kids, WWE will always disappoint you in the end, even when they don't. They'll find a way retroactively to later.
Yeah, dude, God, have truer words ever been spoken? I know not.
I know. I think it means more coming from me too, because I'm usually the naive optimist in the group.
Yeah, you are. At least you're having this moment of clarity, though. You're having a lucid moment right now.
Yeah. At least somebody does. So then we get Carmella versus Liv Morgan. Liv also gets a screen-and-screen promo. I love that she tells Carmella, like, you're a 7. So she actually doesn't give her a bad score. Like, she's not out here trying to, trash other women. She's just like, simmer down. Maybe pump the brakes a bit. And she said, I know how to make you a 10 with my boot in your face. I thought that was good.
WWE superstar cuts a promo about someone's face, and John jumps all over it and loves it.
Hell, I mean, dude, it's already my promo of the year for the TWitWoW Year in Awards.
I mean, how long before we get a scalp promo, and you really love that?
Dude, I'm honestly disappointed that Dexter Lumis hasn't cut one yet. I mean, I know the whole silent thing is part of your gimmick, but, like, give us the content we need. So, I gotta be honest, hated the match. And here's the thing, too. I didn't just hate the match because Carmella won. I'm not even gonna front, that is part of it, right? And I think it'd be disingenuous if I said, no, I was totally fine with Carmella winning. This match was so short. Like, I would have liked at least a little bit more back and forth. Like, goddamn, maybe they just wanted it to be like, well, Liv's primarily a tag competitor, but what a great showing for her. You're not going to do anything with her. Don't tease me like this. Like, I don't want to put this on WWE because there's been a lot of discourse about this, and a lot of discourse about it online. But, like, you fired her best friend, right? She's gone now. And now you're going to make her lose like this. Like, don't tell me that, like, oh, Ruby's gone, so now it's going to be Liv's time to shine. No, it never was. And it was never going to be, and it sucks, and I hate everything. Do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Okay, perfect. Mysterio's backstage. Actually, no, skipping around. Sorry, skipping around. Because after the Carmella promo, that's when Usos and Pierce were backstage, and they got their rematch. Then we got Carmella and Liv. Then Mysterio's backstage, getting told, hey, guys, that match you won? You didn't. So you're going to have to do it again. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So that happens. Then we get the Bianca Belair segment. You know what? I have a lot to say about this, so when I'm conscious of the fact that I'm going to hog space, I always like you to get everything you want to say out first. So what did you think about this?
What are we talking about, the Bayley-Bianca thing?
Yes.
Dude, I won't say anything that adds to this conversation more than your tweet thread already did.
Yeah, and just to kind of run that back, I thought, and I think what I want to add here for the purposes of the podcast, because I always do want to save something for the podcast, otherwise why listen, even though we're both magnificent. I love when WWE has cultural relevance in the right way and they don't try and shoehorn it, and I figured out, and it's kind of poetic, right, that the white guy finally figures it out. You know how you do that without being cringe? is you get people that are in that cultural milieu, that are in that cultural moment, you give them a fucking microphone. Rather than commentary being like, oh, something, something Grammys or something, something, this and that. Like, we have a moment now, and we've had a moment for decades, centuries even, of black suppression, black women dealing with both, white supremacy and misogyny, like all this shit. But you don't even have to go that far back. I mean, recently, as I noted in the tweet, and I wanted to pull up an article, getting this right, Simone Biles was made fucking history when she completed, I want to get the name of the pike right, it was a Yurchenko double pike in practice, and she's thinking about taking it to competitions, and there's going to be like an international committee trying to decide how to score it. Now I've heard, I don't know, I can't verify this, and I want to make that perfectly clear. I have not verified this, but I have heard from some people that they may even try and score it in a way where the contests that Simone is in, I said that right, Simone is in, could still be competitive. And here I am thinking, if she completes something that like leaves even her coaches shaking their head, which that isn't even something out of me, like I watched the clip, and the commentators that watched her do that run even said her coaches were shaking their head. If she could do something like that, what competition is there? She wins. Like, she just wins, right? You don't need to change it so that everybody else get a turn. Ironically enough, that's the same thing like conservative people always fucking complain about with like participation trophies and shit.
That's literally participation trophy culture.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry she's really good at her craft, and I would agree with some people that say like one of the best.
I'm not sorry at all. Shit, she shouldn't be either.
Yeah, and she's not. I think she even tweeted something. I forget what exactly it was, but pretty much like unapologetically, like, yeah, I did that. Suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for her. Because listen, you're a football guy. Football is your domain. If you've got one team running up the score on the other team, you're not going to midway through be like, okay, a touchdown is only worth 3 points and we're getting rid of the extra point. Like,
yes.
You don't do that.
Exactly. No.
You don't do that.
Yeah, if you want them to stop scoring, you fucking stop them from scoring. Christ.
Yeah. Suck less.
Or in this case, we shouldn't lower our standards for certain people just because somebody else eclipsed the standards that were already set. You should keep your standards there, and hopefully in the future, obviously it's not happening right now because Simone's the only one doing it, but hopefully at some point more people can reach those standards as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
if you lower your standards, you're just like, oh, well, no one can compete with this woman, so therefore we have to make it fair for everyone else. Then all of a sudden, everyone else that does this amazing thing that she does is less special for having done it.
And there have been outlets, and I would agree after seeing that. Of course, there's always a debate for people that are more sports literate than I am. I am definitively sports illiterate. But saying that Biles is like the greatest athlete of this generation, at least in her lane, right? In this whole gymnastics. And like after seeing that shit, I'm like, well, I don't watch it much, but like probably, if they're talking about like adjusting scoreboards and shit. So yeah, why do I bring all that up? Because Bianca, our Smackdown Women's Champion, talks about how she was surprised, but Bayley's laugh really got to her. Because it brought her back to when people were laughing at her and doubting her when she was 3 feet tall. And how she's had to hustle and grind and just prove herself over and over and over again. And it really makes you think, when you come from, and I can speak more comfortably from the background of disability. I never want to speak for the black experience. There are plenty of people, Javaris, Foster, Tony with the T. Tony's a wonderful person. Many people in the wrestling space that can speak to it. But as a disabled person, I know that I was an honor student in school, right? And I'll never forget my one friend who came up to me, because I obviously ambulated on crutches in school. And they were like, oh, somebody wanted to know if you were, and then they used the R word, right, about me. And like, all I could do was shake my head, because I'm like, I fucking pull A's and B's, sometimes even straight A's, like every fucking quarter. Like, I work my ass off, so I'm not in those classes where all you do is like play Uno or like do whatever all day, right? And that's always the thing. I think when you come from a marginalized background, you're always going to be counted out, because the world has been made for a particular group of people. We already know who that is. We don't need to rehash that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That isn't you. And then when you outperform in that space, or even just perform adequately in that space, it's like everybody does it. It's like you told them that Santa doesn't exist or some shit. It's like the whole mythos that was built for them becomes completely like disillusioned. And they're threatened by it. Now, I'm not saying Bayley is that character as the heel, but I love how her laugh in this particular context, in this particular milieu, where we're learning about taking pride in where we come from, I love the heat that laugh generates. Because Bianca's just thinking, like, I'm tired of Bayley laughing at me. Like, I am a proud champion. I am the EST. I'm proud of who I am and where I come from. And Bayley, what's good? Where are you at? Because, I know how to handle this now. She didn't say this, but she's probably thinking, like, I'm grown-ass. I ain't 3 feet tall anymore. I'll whoop your ass. And Bayley, she's in her sanctuary, which is great because it's all pictures of her. I know I say this on the podcast, folks, all the time, but I'm not going to stop saying it. You know why? Because it's the truth. I fucking love Bayley. She's on top of her game. She's an amazing heel. Maybe one of the best in wrestling right now. Like, her sanctuary is pictures of her and her accomplishments.
Yep.
Like, may we all love ourselves. Actually, no, I shouldn't even say may we all love ourselves as much as Bayley does because that's unhealthy. But goddamn, that woman does not lack in confidence. And Bayley says, after you cheated, you're fitting to give me a rematch, huh? Well, I accept, and, at Hell in a Cell and beat you and stuff like that. And then she begins laughing again, just at Bianca. And Bianca's just like, come out here. And then, that's right, because what preceded this was Bayley saying, but I'm not going to be the only one that's laughing. And I'm like, that's it. Well, who else is going to be laughing? Do you have somebody that, like, I don't know, actually sees you as a role model? Because I thought for a while it'd be cool if Bayley actually got, like, not necessarily a groupie, but somebody that genuinely looked at her as a role model, and then that's how you get them on TV. But no, actually, it was far more sinister. Bayley has taken over the Thunderdome, and, like, every screen is just her laughing at Bianca. And I stand by what I tweeted. This was eerier than anything Alexa Bliss has done since the gimmick change.
Yep.
Like, I was unnerved by this shit. I love Bayley. And she unnerved me, and I'm like, what?
Dude, to be even more bold, I think, this felt more like something The Fiend would do than anything Alexa has done since she got with him.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, like, I hate to stay on the Alexa topic, but I did want to just kind of say, I feel like the Bliss character that we've gotten since she joined up with The Fiend is more of a caricature of what, like, a scary, creepy girl should be in wrestling than an actual, like, well-written one,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely. And, like, I love everything, to me, that this segment kind of reads without, like, beating you over the hammer with it, because you give Bianca the mic to tell you the story her damn self, which is far more effective. And this isn't even shade at Michael Cole. Honestly, as the years go by, I feel worse and worse for that dude, because I don't even know what hell he gets put through in that fucking bureaucracy. And maybe Tom Phillips is the lucky one here. I don't even fucking know anymore. But, like, him relaying it might have had some effect, sure. But, like, just pass the mic. Right? Isn't that what we always say? Rather than even just being allies and speaking up on these causes, the best thing you could do is just pass the mic. And Bianca had the mic. She was able to talk about her coming up and about her being used to people like Bayley laughing at her. And it hits, man. And it's so resonant without being cringe. And then Bayley, and here's the thing, too. Like, Bayley, I don't want to go too far, because I'm not even going to say this is anywhere near Triple H and Booker T, but if you're going to get into that uncomfortable territory of laughing at somebody whose gimmick is just and being proud of who they are in an environment where, like, being proud of who you are in that context is dangerous at times, you got to handle it with some aplomb, right? And Bayley doesn't have to talk about hair or schools or any tropes that are tired and really, like, just awful that shouldn't even be invoked. She just keeps her laugh. That's it. Just keeps the laugh, and that's all you fucking need. God, this was so good. I love this. And look, I don't think anybody's doubting that Bianca's going to retain at Hell in a Cell. Like, I know we usually wait for preview predictions, but, like, I don't see it. I don't think anybody, at least at this time, sees it. And I think when she does retain against Bayley at Hell in a Cell, it's going to be a great moment for her title reign, because she beat a heel not only that's really fucking good in Bayley, but that was really fucking good and that just, like, laughed at Bianca and just never really acknowledged her as an equal and was finally forced to when she just got straight up beat. I love it. It's Wrestling 101 at its finest. So great job, ladies. In my mind, they were the stars of the show, by far. After this, because we already talked about the Street Profits and Otis like all in one thing, we got Nakamura Corbin. We can bypass that because we already talked about that in the first segment. Commander Aziz assaults KO backstage.
Yeah.
We're not even going to stay long on Apollo KO because you already gave your thoughts, and I more or less agree. The only thing I'd add is I do think it's a good way, I guess, to get heat on Apollo while protecting KO, because it's like KO literally was not coming in at 100%. So you know that like a loss shouldn't even be that surprising.
I gotta tell you, man, I was excited to see Apollo win the IC title, but I feel like he's held on to it for way too long.
Do you feel like it only feels too long because the reign itself has kind of been underwhelming in terms of like the feuds and stuff like that? Because that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like
maybe
they really haven't let any feud breathe.
I don't know. It's. What do you remember when did he win it at Mania or did he retain it at Mania? I forget.
He won it at Mania. He won it at Mania, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think. I don't know. Maybe it really is just that the gimmick that he's rolling with just had a really short shelf life, and it's just not entertaining to me anymore.
Maybe, and if it is, that's fair. Like, it's so funny because I know where you are with NXT, where it's like Bronson Reed, and I think you said Austin Theory. Like, I think he's found a good little pocket for you where he's not like too annoying and he's kind of in a good spot. I'm still enjoying Apollo, so like I respect where you're coming from. Absolutely, I think the problem with Apollo, dude, you can tell like they have not put the same energy in the title reign as far as him being a champion as they did him being a chaser. Because I feel like him being a challenger, they always had like him and Big E doing like either compelling stuff in terms of like mic stuff or physicality that was like, okay, let's do it. Now that he's champion, which he pursued relentlessly, I want more feuds like Big E individuated. And you know what I worry about now with Aleister Black being released, which, you know, really excited to see what he's going to do next, but this isn't time or place to talk about that. I worry that it's going to circle back to Big E going after Apollo again, right? And maybe Big E will even get it back. I don't know. But I really feel like Apollo didn't get a fair shake because whatever writing you were doing for him being a challenger, you sure as shit to me haven't shown it since he became champion. And that's really a shame because like he hasn't been able to really have a one-to-one feud, maybe even leading up to a pay-per-view. I mean, he got left off WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know. For me personally, I just feel like Apollo got kind of cheated here. I would have liked an actual program with KO to breathe a little bit. And I feel like they kind of rushed that, but I get why they rushed that because Sammy and Kevin aren't formally finished, which, you know, that comes because Sammy hits a haluva kick, kind of kicks Kevin. I'm still half expecting that to maybe even be a Hell in a Cell match, like I said at the start of the show.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. And, yeah, I'd be curious what our chat thinks still about Apollo. If you agree more with me or if you agree more with Ashton that you feel like it's just like the character has been exhausted, or if you're more like me where I just feel like the character hasn't been given much of a chance in terms of the writing. I feel like open challenges are kind of a face thing, but I feel like heels have done it. I don't know. Maybe that could work, but I'm a bit tentative about that. Yeah, then Usos Mysterio, and we already kind of talked about that. So I think that's actually our review. That really was quick. Holy shit.
I think I'm also just kind of bored with the sort of mid-card scene on SmackDown in general, other than the fact that we just got Boogs, because of the fact that it feels like it's just the same people all the time. I want a shake-up. I really do. Like, I just feel like it's very... And Aleister was almost going to be that, but then it turned out he was a heel, and then he got released, and like, oh, God, I just want something different. Like, to me, SmackDown is the Sasha, Bayley, Bianca, Roman show. And now lately it's also been like the Nakamura Boogs show to a lesser degree. I want more Sami Zayn in my life for sure. But yeah, like I don't know, it's starting to feel very, very repetitive, kind of redundant, kind of tedious to get through. But there's a hell of a lot more on SmackDown that makes me perk up and pay attention than there is on Raw. So.
Oh, I am with you there, brother. Absolutely. It's funny you even say that because I was even thinking, I was thinking about tweeting this, but I didn't. I was thinking, like, can we just divvy up SmackDown so, like, I don't know, Roman and, like, the Bloodline just get an hour just to really get through stuff. Bayley, Bianca, and maybe a few other women, they get, like, a half hour, and then Shinsuke and Boogs just jam out for another half hour.
It's cool also really frustrating that a bunch of the people that just got released were SmackDown performers, and that's like an even smaller roster to draw from now.
Yeah, Yeah, they really, really shot themselves in the foot there. I mean, they won't see it that way because, you know, they did it, and they've got a greater end in mind, even if it is just improving the profit margin.
Yeah, dude, literally, you saw it was literally budget cuts. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts on that, but I'm going to hold off because I know sooner or later we'll get a commentary where I could just unload about that, and I mean all my thoughts.
You're giving Abel Q&A ideas.
Yeah, he was going to use them anyway. That's not on me. I'm going to sleep well tonight.
I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I'm sorry if I did.
Oh, no, dude. I'm just playing around. But no, like, I know how Abel is with the intense questions, and our chat knows how Abel is with the Q&A questions. So, Abel, if you're listening, we love you, and we know you're coming. We're ready for it. So with that said...
coming!
Oh, Otis. How I wish you were getting pushed. That has been Smackdown, so let's get to our next segment, high spots and low shots. My low shot, you know what? I'm going to say my low shot to Jimmy Uso specifically. Did not win the tag titles, which is the whole thing he's been angling for more than anyone. And your own brother didn't even leave with you. He stayed in the ring with Roman because he's finally starting to wise up and be like, you know, I really did have a pretty good thing going here, and 3 is a crowd. So, yeah, I think Jimmy's going to be my
company.
No, and that show sucked, and we both know it sucked. So
I love that show too.
We'll talk about it. Jimmy's my low shot tonight. So who's your low shot?
I mean, it just makes sense that my low shot is Liv Morgan. She got a promo. She got a singles debut on SmackDown with, you know, Ruby gone, and she immediately loses. Yeah,
it's really depressing, actually. Really, really depressing. But you know, facts of life. Another show, right? So yeah, high spot. Really, I just want to give an honorary high spot to Bianca and Bayley for having the best segment on the show tonight. And as far as an actual high spot, only because like that was more of a talking segment. Let's see who I will give my actual high spot to. You know what? I'll give my actual high spot to Apollo because he probably had the easiest match on the card tonight. Even though KO didn't just roll over and die, you know, he did retain his Intercontinental title, and it was a really softened up KO that he did it against. So good shit for Apollo. I guess he's my high spot. What about you?
You know what? My high spot actually. Wait, I'm sorry. Your high spot was Apollo. Who did you mention in your honorable?
Bayley and Bianca for having the best segment on the show tonight.
Perfect. My high spot's Roman. Easy peasy. His family is back in order for him, which basically means falling apart without him.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
It's been firmly reestablished that they need him, or at least, you know, in this manipulated reality that he's created, they need him.
Yeah. Everything's going according to plan.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that was SmackDown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely you are to be the top result for SmackDown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong, so please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell icon so you never get miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. I always like to point particular attention to the TWitWoW Patreon. Check out all of our offerings at Patreon. Of course, the 2 offerings I always like to highlight. 1, additional Q&A questions. Non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions, but for $1, you get 2 additional Q&A questions for a total of 5. We do Q&As the last Thursday of every month. So for this month, that would happen to be June 24th. So you guys
have got... It's such an early Q&A this month.
I know, less than 3 weeks already. So get your questions in. If you haven't, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, best places to submit them. And again, $1 for 2 additional Q&A questions. I mentioned Discord. TWitWoW Discord for membership only costs $3. So you do that, you get to be a part of our community, you get a nice hub to make Q&A questions, and you get to be a part of Among Us Mondays.
You pull the dish off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did I just hear myself say Discord?
Yeah. So $3 for that. You know what really sold me was you delighting in it at the very end, and like that laugh was 100% genuine. That
Yes,
just,
it
like,
was. I
that
entertained
set me.
myself far too
Yeah,
much.
like I tell you all the time. You and my sister are the only people I don't worry about in an apocalypse, because the people that you don't worry about are those that can amuse themselves better than anybody else can. So yeah, $3 Discord access. Get on that shit. And I guess to round this out, guys, I don't want to say we have no idea what's going on with Stardom, because that might be a lie. Do we have any idea what's going on with Stardom?
Tuesday.
All right. Then you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Monday, you Discord users, for Among Us. But for those of you that just like to listen to the podcast, that's cool too. We respect it. We will see you Tuesday at 5 for Stardom Live reactions. And then we will follow that up with NXT review at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as we inch ever closer to take over in your house. Not on my fucking property. NXT better step its fucking game up. But hey, you know what? Wait, what'd you say?
I just giggled.
Oh, nice. But I will say, you know who I do open the door for? Adam Cole. I'm going to get real close to the mic here.
Oh, God.
Baby.
Oh, okay, and he made it bad. Okay, that's great.
There you go. Yeah. You're never safe. So yeah, we'll see you Tuesday at 5 for Stardom. Should be a fun show. Totally not creepy vibes whatsoever. I'm normal. What's wrong with you? All right. Till then, guys, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Keep enjoying wrestling wherever you may find it. And until we see each other again, tune in. Peace out.